Hi, this is Mary Beth Anderson, Director of Program Management for Surface Security. I'm pleased to be talking to you today about chip-to-cloud modern endpoint protection from Microsoft with my colleague Bob Combs. I'm going to start by describing what we'll be talking about today. Surface works closely with Windows and the Microsoft 365 teams to ensure that the Surface family of devices not only meet every standard for a highly secured PC, but is also capable of automatically receiving updates. In a global environment of ever-changing security threats, especially when nothing is perfectly secure, the only protection is defense in depth across multiple layers, including hardware, firmware, software, applications, and identity. In addition to the normal and usual security issues, COVID-19 has had impacts across our society, and IT security professionals are no exception. There are more demands by users without the ability for hands-on debug by your IT team. There are users connecting to unknown networks that may or may not be high risk. The work from home infrastructure, including home routers and modems, are not owned by the company, or even some cases, even the users. And we're all using VPN connections, and the number of those connections is increasing for many work organizations in a geometric fashion. Work from home or work remote workflows were not tested by many organizations prior to the pandemic. And on top of all of this, malware attacks are on the rise, especially pandemic-based attacks. Finally, company applications are migrating to the cloud, and that allows another vector of attack. Surface chip-to-cloud security can address the needs of the IT professional during this challenging time. I'm going to toss the virtual microphone over to my awesome colleague, Bob Combs, who will discuss Surface firmware features for security.
Thank you, Mary Beth. Our work as directors of program management for security is to ensure Surface devices provide the highest levels of security. Security fit for the enterprise, for working from home and connecting to your enterprise, or protecting your family. Security begins with the way devices are manufactured and is instantiated every time the power button is pressed, from a root of trust provided by the Trusted Platform Module, also known as the TPM. The TPM is the industry standard security safe where secrets are kept. When a device is first powered on, it goes through a sequence of security checks to ensure a device's firmware has not been tampered or corrupted. At power on, the chipset or SoC uses a chipset vendor key to validate and initiate the loading of microcode, and for Intel, the Authenticated Code Module, ACM. The ACM measures the UEFI code before loading and compares to the known measurement in the TPM's PCR, or Platform Configuration Register, to ensure that the UEFI code has not been altered. Before allowing UEFI to run, there is one more check known as boot guard that checks that UEFI was signed with a Surface OEM key. The initially checked UEFI module is the security SEC and the pre-EFI, the PEI sections shown in the diagram. The PEI section then checks for a Surface signature on the driver execution environment, the DIXI module, as it is loaded. The DIXI module includes the boot device selection phase. Once the boot device has been selected, UEFI will read the boot device and check the signature of the OS bootloader before allowing it to execute. The OS then, of course, checks its signatures on its main component as it brings up the OS. So you can see that the integrity of the firmware is checked at each stage, from pressing the power button to running the operating system. We're proud of our devices and their firmware because they have several unique functions. Our UEFI is the only UEFI currently built on the Microsoft Project Mu open source code base, which is based on the UEFI open source. Of course, there are customizations specific to Surface products. All of the firmware Surface uses has been reviewed and built by our engineers. No third-party BIOS vendors are involved. This is a strong part of how we protect against supply chain attacks for Surface products. We have reduced the attack surface in our UEFI by removing any unused code, including System Management Mode, SMM functions, that our devices do not need. Another unique point is that Surface firmware is securely updated via Windows Update. Surface devices are kept current and secure. And because Surface builds the firmware, we can agilely respond to threats. There are many components in a Surface device that have their own firmware, UEFI being only one of them. As I said, it is a unique capability that Surface can proactively make updates and fixes securely available via Windows Update. All firmware updates are signed with the Surface signature to ensure only updates from Surface can be applied. Most updates are applied by UEFI using a capsule update mechanism. Each capsule update has a signature from Windows Update. Windows checks the Windows Update signature and allows the download driver to be installed. The driver is a capsule update that is saved for UEFI. The system must then be rebooted for UEFI to pick up the saved capsule update. UEFI will check the Surface signature on the capsule update, and once verified, will apply the update to the targeted firmware. The screen shown in the upper right is what a user commonly sees when a firmware update is being installed. In this case, the progress bar is cyan, indicating that it is a UEFI update. The colors on the lower right show the various firmware that can be updated on a device. Not all devices have all of these firmware. I should point out that there's a value of having an A-B update mechanism. Each firmware flash has two execution areas, an A section and a B section. When an update arrives, it is installed in the other section from the currently active section and checked before changing to the new section. For example, assume that a firmware is currently active in section A. An arriving capsule update will be loaded into section B. Only after the firmware update has successfully completed loading checks and verification will the execution pointer be repointed to section B. At the next boot, the device will execute the firmware from section B. The next update after that would obviously have to load into section A, and the process would be repeated. This method ensures that your device will always recover from corrupted updates. You can boot your Surface to a UEFI front page configuration screen to enable or disable devices such as cameras, or change the boot order of devices, and more. To get to the UEFI front page screens, you need to hold the volume up and press power. On earlier Surface devices, we learned certain highly secure customers were disabling the camera by drilling it out. In response to this, we added an easier and less hardware-intensive solution. Disabling a device such as a camera is done by gating power off to the camera and locking the disable in UEFI to prevent the OS from changing the lock. The device is removed from the ACPI table by UEFI. It is not possible for the operating system to enable the device because the device no longer shows up to the operating system. The only way to re-enable a device is to boot back into the UEFI front page and re-enable the actual device. Surface Enterprise Management Mode, or SEM, is a configuration tool for enterprises to manage configurations of Surface devices across their enterprise. SEM configurations are locked to a key that the IT admin or system admin holds, ensuring that others cannot change the configurations on those machines. In this way, an enterprise can secure their machine configuration against unauthorized changes. SEM can also manage Surface Dock 2 configurations. It has been announced that the Surface Duo is coming this holiday 2020. The Surface Duo is different from other Surface devices because it is an Android device. But that does not mean it is not secure. As you can see, it has security features that mirror other Surface devices, starting with the same Surface UEFI. Android Verified Boot, much like Secure Boot, checks the signatures of modules to protect the boot process. Based on a Qualcomm processor, the Duo sports a trusted execution environment and key store to secure secrets such as user identity. Apps are sandboxed, and storage uses file-based encryption. The Surface Duo is enterprise ready. It can be managed under Azure Active Directory using conditional access, just as other Surface Windows devices. Conditional access can enforce policies for multi-factor authentication to protect VPNs, Microsoft 365 applications, and web-based applications. And now, here's a short demo highlighting a few of Duo's security capabilities. For this demonstration, we're going to be using my Surface Studio, and we're going to be using my Surface Duo. I am syncing the two of them together using the Windows Your Phone application. That application shows the same thing on both screens in real time. Here I'm going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to go to Settings, open them up, and let's take a look at the security settings because that's the things I want to check. Now let me zoom in on this a little bit more. What I want to find out is whether or not I have all of my security settings set correctly. And I can see from this that I have Google Play Protect, security updates enabled, Google Play System Update enabled, but I don't have Find My Device on. So I'm going to go ahead and enable Find My Device. As you can see, it updated it on my Duo as well.
I'd like to talk a little bit about DFCI and Cloud UEFI management. You may know that we use the capabilities of SEM that Bob described earlier through Intune and MDM to do this feature. It uses a tiny bit of code running on every Surface device that allows IT enterprise users to geolocate and monitor devices anywhere. It survives any kind of reboot if the device is stolen, re-imaged, or wiped. This prevents the thieves from disabling the feature. In addition, it automatically activates and reports the device's locations using GPS, Wi-Fi triangulation, or IP address. You can see that this is a powerful feature for managing your firmware in the cloud for your Surface device. This is zero-touch device provisioning and eliminates BIOS passwords and provides control of security settings, including boot options and built-in peripherals. It also lays the groundwork for more advanced security scenarios in the future. For more information, Mo Salah and Sean McLaren are doing a session on zero-touch deployment and autopilot, and we strongly encourage you to take a look at this presentation. There are a bunch of Windows features that support working remotely in a secure fashion. You're probably familiar with Windows Hello. It's a trusted authentication method that uses 3 different types of methods: facial recognition, finger recognition, and strong on-device PIN. This is paired with a password or PIN stored securely during the out-of-box experience. A valid biometric unlocks the TPM key to access the PIN and allow login. This is a great feature. I use it myself on my Surface devices and I love it. I also use BitLocker myself and the out-of-box experience was great. I haven't had to use BitLocker recovery, but this is incredibly helpful to the IT professional when security and/or boot changes have been made. Virtual Secure Mode is virtualization-based security, which is a security enclave on hypervisor. Surface devices ship with VSM enabled. Other features such as Microsoft Defender Application Control and Credential Guard help to round out an industry-leading suite of features for working remotely in a secure fashion. Let's talk about conditional access. Conditional access manages access according to specific criteria such as user location, time of day, and other factors to deliver an optimal experience in changing conditions. We also have Device Guard, which adds an extra layer of protection for signed applications permitted to run on Windows. This code integrity service runs inside a small container called Virtual Secure Mode, otherwise known as VSM, a small virtual machine running outside Windows processes. Credential Guard also uses VSM to remove credential authentication from Windows processes. Even if attacker gains access to Windows, credentials remain separated in a secure virtual machine. Credential Guard also provides an extra layer of protection against vulnerabilities such as phishing attacks, where stolen user account credentials can potentially compromise every other user's credential in your organization. As most of you know, we've announced our new product, Surface Duo. Surface Duo also supports conditional access via Azure Active Directory. Our Surface Hub has an update, which also now supports conditional access via AADJ. If you have a Surface device, you can use conditional access to make sure that your devices are secure. I'm sure most of you have heard of Microsoft Defender ATP. Microsoft is in a unique position as our Windows telemetry allows us to gather more security data than any other vendor, which allows us to pinpoint and track attacks in real time. We use big data analytics to predict how vulnerabilities will spread. This allows us to preempt attacks from spreading by delivering updates to users before their devices can be affected. We protect user devices without requiring manual approval of updates, which is attractive from an IT professional standpoint. Microsoft Defender ATP is always up to date, and we have a synchronized defense that is shared across Microsoft 365 device identity and data. It's a great feature that's available to Windows and Surface users. Windows Update for Business allows enterprise users to get critical updates faster. It provides the ability to allow any enterprise user to obtain updates directly from Microsoft in a manner similar to how consumers automatically receive updates for their devices. This frees enterprise users from strict reliance on their organization's IT group to provide updates. We do reports on this through Windows Analytics, and it does integrate with Configuration Manager, Intune, and WSUS Manager. All of this enables Surface to always be up to date from chip to cloud to protect from security vulnerabilities. Let's talk about Intune and how it delivers a premium experience for your users. You cannot be productive if you're waiting for your machine to be imaged. Intune enables full remote management of Surface devices from the Azure cloud, delivering fully configured devices to users upon startup. In addition, the wipe and retire features allow IT to repurpose a device easily for a new remote user and wipe a device that's been stolen. You can also retire a device, including restoring a bring your own device back to a user, and replace a device via warranty. This enables rapid and secure response capabilities in the event of loss or theft of a Surface device, allowing you to remotely remove all company data and reconfigure Surface as an entirely new device. We have Surface for Business tools that further protect your Microsoft Surface investment. Microsoft Surface Deployment Accelerator provides a wizard-based tool for automation of a Microsoft recommended deployment experience via free Microsoft tools. The resulting solution includes everything needed to immediately start deploying Windows to a Surface device. In addition, Surface Data Eraser boots from a USB stick, allowing you to securely wipe all data from a Surface device. We also have a Surface Dock Updater. This updater walks you through the process of updating the firmware on one or more Surface docks, including the required connect and disconnect steps to perform the complete firmware installation. The Surface Diagnostic Toolkit helps you quickly troubleshoot and resolve some common issues. If you're not familiar with these tools, it is definitely worth your while to go look at the download links or the videos that you see on the slide here. To wrap things up, Surface is simply the best device for Microsoft 365. It fully integrates in-depth layered security from the UEFI firmware layer all the way up to the Azure cloud-enabled Intune wipe and retire service. It's secured chip to cloud. We provide the best and first security innovations from Surface, Windows, and EMS all in one package. You can have peace of mind knowing that Surface firmware is tightly controlled by Microsoft and stays current through automatic updates. Bob and I have presented a lot of information in this very short presentation. If you want to learn more, here's a short list of resources that you can use to get started. Thanks for your time and have a great day.